Sunday. And joining me now is California Congressman Jimmy Gomez. He's a member of the Intelligence and Ways and Means Committees. Welcome back, Congressman. So when this package comes back to the House, will Democrats vote to pass it as is to avert a shutdown, or are you prepared to hold your votes unless additional guardrails on ICE not contained in that Senate bill are written into the legislation?
Yeah, I'm currently prepared to vote no once again, as I did the last time, but the caucus hasn't met as a whole. We're having that call on Sunday, and there's going to be discussion on what the caucus should do as a whole. But at the same time, this package that's coming back is just a 2-week extension of the Department of Homeland Security funding as well as ICE. But at the same time, I believe that if you don't deal with the underlying problems, including the massive amount of money that got into the system through one big beautiful bill, which is about $175 billion, you don't deal with the underlying policies or legal opinions from this administration, then the abuse of our citizens, the abuse of residents in the United States are going to continue. So right now you have the Progressive Caucus and the New Dems, which tend to be the more moderate members, in agreement that there has to be reforms if we're going to give one more cent. I'm a no, and I think a lot of my colleagues are no's at this moment.
Well, you know, House Republicans warned they're not going to accept any changes to the bill they already passed. The Freedom Caucus says they won't support anything that weakens DHS or ICE. So will enough Republicans sign on to get this across the finish line, or are we headed for a shutdown because GOP leadership can't deliver its own conference?
I like how the Republicans have a backbone when it comes to this issue against Donald Trump in the White House. This is a deal that the White House, Donald Trump, cut with the Senate Democrats and as well as the Republican leadership in the Senate. So all of a sudden they have a backbone and they're going to say they're going to stand up to him. I kind of doubt that, and so we'll see what ends up happening. This is a deal that they struck. They should vote for it, and I think that in the end, the Republicans, because they always cave to Donald Trump, they're going to cave.
So Border Czar Tom Homan says the Minnesota crackdown needs to be, quote, fixed. But there's little sign of federal agents changing their aggressive tactics, and Homan is tying any pullback to cooperation from state officials. So what needs to change right now in how immigration enforcement is conducted? And can ICE fundamentally change, or does it need to be abolished and recreated as a more measured and effective agency?
I think people need to remember that it's not just ICE. The surge includes ICE, CBP, agents from the Department of Homeland Security, and they're getting pulled off of assignments that are usually dealing with the worst and the worst. Drug traffickers, human smuggling, child smuggling, all that. They're getting pulled off of those assignments. So it's actually making us less safe. They're being less effective. They're breaking more shit. They're hurting more people, but they're not being as effective. In my opinion, we have to first put restrictions on the money that Trump got through the one big beautiful bill, $175 billion. That goes to ICE and CBP. It goes to detention centers. If we don't remove that money and go after the policies that allow for this abuse, it's just going to continue. You abolish ICE. I think that the Trump's ICE should not stand as it is, but you abolish it. All of a sudden, they're all going to be CBP agents under the same kind of rules of engagement, abusing the same amount of people, violating the Fourth Amendment, going into no warrant searches of people's homes. So it has to be more than just saying, oh, let's abolish. We have to go beyond that and deal with the money and deal with the policies. Because if we don't, this is just going to happen under a different badge or a different agency.
This is just coming in that the San Antonio Express News reports a federal judge today ordered the release of that 5-year-old boy and his father from a Texas federal detention center while their case proceeds. And the two were detained in Minnesota just as the boy was coming home from school a few weeks ago. Democratic Representatives Joaquin Castro and Jasmine Crockett visited them at the facility this week. So listen to what Castro said after their visit.
His father said that Liam has been very depressed since he's been at Dilley, that he hasn't been eating well. I was concerned with, you see how he appears in that photo with his energy. He seemed lethargic. His father said that Liam has been sleeping a lot. that he's been asking about his family, his mom, and his classmates, and saying that he wants to go be back in school with his classmates.
So the administration insists it's enforcing the law, but what exactly is the legal or moral justification for detaining a 5-year-old?
There isn't. Here's the thing. Liam and his dad have open asylum cases. They should be allowed to live outside of detention while those cases are being heard. But under this administration, they don't care about the welfare of people. They don't care about the welfare of children. Remember, just last year, Donald Trump called anybody who is an immigrant trying to come into this country animals. That's how he views them. He views people as animals that don't deserve pity, that don't deserve any kind of accommodations. So we shouldn't allow this to stand. But as long as that he has the money, as long as he's building out more detention centers, not less, this is going to continue. And here's the thing. I have a 3.5-year-old son. It is devastating to see a child in that circumstance where it's crowded, the stress of just being in those facilities. I know children are pretty resilient, but a child should not be in these facilities. I understand some folks have to be kept in facilities like this, but children and parents and mothers should not be in these facilities at all. They should be allowed to wait for their court appearances outside.
California Congressman Jimmy Gomez, thank you, sir, for weighing in. We'll see you again. Donald Trump's obsession